Hi you guys, Robin here. I wanted to show you how I make this beanie. Forgive me the small window, but I had to do this on my phone. I wanted to download some software to do better quality video. And to do that download, I had to update my iOS on my iPad. And now it's not charging properly. So much for a better video. That's okay. You guys are definitely not here for my video quality and YouTube skills. I know you're here for the content, so it's all okay. But forgive me, I'll try to be as centered as I can, and we'll go from there. So here's the hat. I wanted to also show you what it looks like in solid color. It's also gorgeous, and it's just the same on both sides when you do it in a solid color. So let's get started. All right. For this beanie, you're going to do a chain, whatever height you want your hat. I'm just going to do a small swatch. So whatever chain you do or length you want, add two. One is for the turning chain and one is for what I call the start stitch. When you need an extra pull-up or somewhere to pull up a loop into a stitch, but it's not the actual stitch that you're finishing, that's what I call start stitch. So pull up a loop from your start stitch and then pull up a loop into the first stitch. Oop, I forgot something very important. We want to work into the back bumps. The reason is because the seam is a lot neater and more invisible when you work into the back bumps in the beginning. So pull up a loop from your start stitch, pull up a loop in your first stitch, and pull it through both loops on your hook. It's fiddly for the first row, but almost all crochet patterns are. It's just how it is. You don't have a lot to hold on to. But it's a very low resistance, easy to work stitch once you get going. You'll see. All right. Pull up a loop in the same stitch you just worked. Pull up a loop in the next stitch and pull that through both loops on your hook. And do that until you have 3 chains left to work. Oop, and I did one too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's right. Okay. So when you have 3 chains left to work, you're going to slip stitch into the first one, slip stitch into the next one. Now this is where we're going to do our color changes at the top end of the hat. So put your hook through and put your new color on and pull that through. Now, I don't use stitch markers because I'm real familiar with this pattern, and for me, I find it easy to find the stitches I need to work into. But if you're not comfortable with it, or you have a tendency to miss stitches, definitely I suggest you use stitch markers. No need to worry about, also, I'll show you again when we do the next row at the end here, but it's, because it's easier, just pick up the yarn and work it from whatever side it is so you don't have to move your yarns around. This is where we're going to cinch up the hat and nobody's going to see how you carried your yarn, so don't worry about it. All right, so turn it like a book. Turn, do not chain 1. And we're going to be working into the front loops. So here's the stitch. We're going to be working into this loop here. And here's the stitch. It's kind of, the front loops are facing you and they're on the top. So they're easy to find. This is the whole stitch right here. And this is the front loop right here. So we're going to do the 3 slip stitches. And then start the stitch pattern here. Just go into the same stitch you just worked, go into the next one and pull up a loop, and then pull that through both loops on your hook. And again, work that to the end of the row. You can see it's a very easy, smooth stitch to work once you get going. All right, so this is our last stitch. Now, on even number rows, you're going to have an extra stitch, and that's to create a start stitch for the odd number rows. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to go through, but instead of just the front loop, you're going to go through both loops. It's a half double crochet, and you want to make this one a little bit tight. So before you pull through that yarn, tug it a little bit and make sure that's tight. We don't want any loosey-goosey loops hanging off the end of our hat. That's how I get this this nice edge. All right, we're going to chain one. Again, turn the page. You're going to go into that first stitch and only pull up a loop, and then go into the next one, pull up a loop, and pull that through both loops on your hook. And continue that stitch pattern down the row until you have the 3 slip stitches left to work. Oops. I don't know, can you guys hear the wind? They canceled the Buffalo game because of the high winds and whatnot. I'm so bummed. I was going to watch that tonight. I don't know why. This is Western New York. We're used to this cold weather. I guess the high winds, though, are too dangerous. Anyhow, hope you're all enjoying the playoffs, and if not, enjoy some good music. All right, so I've got the 3 slip stitches left. I'm going to do the first 2. The last one, just go through, pull up your yarn from wherever it is. Remember, don't worry about how you carry the yarn, because it's all going to be hidden when we cinch up the hat. Turn it like a book. Go into that first stitch and slip stitch. Remember, we're doing front loops only, so the stitch is kind of hidden on the other side of the work. It's not these two, it's these two. And so this is your front loop, and they're really easy to find. They're right on top. Oops, one more. Okay, here's three slip stitches, and now we start the stitch pattern. Into the same stitch and pull up a loop. Into the next one, pull up a loop and pull that through the 2 loops on your hook. Pull up a loop from the same stitch you just worked. Pull up a loop in the next one and pull that through the 2 stitches on your hook. 2 loops on your hook, sorry. See how easy it is to work. Another little tip I have for you, when you're working slip stitches, this one or most slip stitches, if you have a hard time with the way, sometimes it's the way you grip, but it helps if you just turn your hook away and pull it through. I'll show you again on the next row. And this is the last stitch. Pull up a loop and pull it through the 2 on your hook. Now we have to work our extra stitch. Remember to go through both loops when you're here. Chain 1 and turn. And we're just repeating the same thing we did last time on the odd row. Pull up through the start stitch, pull up through the next, and pull through both loops on your hook. That's our last one. Now we're going to do our slip stitch, change colors, turn like a book, turn the page like a book, 3 slip stitches, and our extra stitch, turn, start stitch, pull up, pull through. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to do it in a quick motion like that. I just didn't want to do it too fast. Okay, I'm going to do one more row. You're going to end on an even row at the brim with the same color you started with. So we're going to end here with the red. Oop. Not paying attention. All right, we got 3 slip stitches. Now we start the stitch pattern. And magically we have this little hat. So we're getting towards the end of the row, end of the last one we're going to do. Here's the last one. Now even on the last row you're going to do that extra stitch. It keeps the edges uniform. Okay, and pull it through to chain up. You want to cut your yarn, leaving yourself about one and a half lengths to 2 lengths if you want to be extra cautious of the height of the hat. So it's the width of the piece you're working, and leave enough. Make sure you have enough length to do the size hat you want to do. Well, now I will show you how I join it. Take your tail and a needle. We are going to use, on the last row we just worked, we're going to use those front loops. So when it's facing like this, it looks like the back loops. We're going to use these on the mattress stitch. And if you don't know how to do the mattress stitch or you're unfamiliar, there's lots of videos out there, and I don't want to have to repeat that work. Those guys, I think, count on those views too, for some of them are their livelihoods, so don't want to infringe on that. All right, so just gonna weave it through there. The loops that we're going to use, this was your starting chain right here. Now, this is how I do it. If you're this-handed, you're going to do it a different way. But you're going to use these loops and these loops. So the ones that are up top. I guess when it's facing you, it would be the front loops on this side, and it would be the back loops on this side. So we're going to go into that one. Now there's an extra stitch on here, so just make up for it towards the top. You'll just have to skip one or go back and forth. So do the mattress stitch back and forth one extra time at the top. Most importantly is to use those specific bumps or loops so you get that as invisible a join as possible. Always one of my goals. Okay, now when you get to the end, couple tips here. Hold the bottom and then tug on that until it starts to pull up the bottom, and then stretch it back out again so you're not tugging on that bottom hook. Okay. You want to knot these. I do a surgeon's knot. You do whatever knot you like, but it's good to knot it here before we cinch up the top. That way it won't pull up on this thread here and make this shorter. Now it's not necessary when you're cinching up the top to go through every loop or every row. You need just enough to get the bulk of the work. So I usually do like every other row. Whatever you're comfortable with, really. You know, to each their own. There's no right or wrong way. If it works, it works. That's what matters. Okay. So I've done that. I'm just going to pull that to cinch it all up. Make sure it's nice and tight. If you're doing a really big hat and you've got a lot cinched up, sometimes it's helpful just to go through this way, cross it over, and you know, bring it together if like there's a little opening. Tie them up and hide those ends however you hide them. Or don't hide them. Sometimes they're just cute left tied on top. I think I'll do that with this little hat. There you have it. Hope you guys like it.